It has been said that Saturn's only friend is Pluto, and with friends like that, you don't need any enemies. So, in addition to Saturn, we see that for Trump, Pluto has been in a challenging transit period since the spring of 2019 when it first reached within striking distance of his 12th house Saturn. That was the release of the Mueller report, which contained damning information about his Russia dealings as well as multiple instances of obstruction of justice during the first 2 years of his presidency. With the help of William Barr, also known in my book as Fred Flintstone, he was able to sidestep most of the damage, although I still think he took a major hit on 2 counts. Count 1 enraged the many millions of Democrats that would later vote against him in 2020. Count 2 was a self-inflicted wound because, in typical Trumpian misapprehension, he concluded he must be invincible, and so within hours of noticing Mueller wouldn't be bringing him down, he phoned Ukraine in order to extort them by way of trying to trade weaponry for made-up dirt on Joe Biden. Though once again this didn't bring him down completely, since although he was impeached, his Republican friends absolved him. The whole episode wasn't just another black mark, which would later motivate so many Democrats to vote, but, just like after Ukraine, it again made him feel invincible and practically guaranteed he would then completely screw up the response to COVID in 2020, which was in fact when Pluto fully locked into opposition to his natal Saturn. A sure sign that he wasn't going to win the election, because this kind of cycle is extremely difficult to overcome when you're trying to succeed at something. It means there are very powerful forces against you, and since it would be fully in effect all through 2020, effectively his goose was cooked. By the summer of 2020, and by election time, Pluto wasn't just hitting Saturn, it was also hitting Venus, which is the lord of his 10th house of career. Further evidence there was no way in hell he was going to win. Now you have to realize these cycles tell you both what is liable to happen to someone, as well as how they behave. As to the happening, well, he lost, enough said. But as to his behavior, starting in 2019 and continuing all through 2020, he became a full-on fascist, totalitarian, all-in, do whatever it takes in order to get your way. These are the telltale signs of Pluto running amok. This double-hit transit explains a number of things that happened, including why he got sick with COVID, because the transit hit was from the 6th house of health, although here we do have to add that Saturn was also involved. But perhaps more telling in the way this dark dynamic duo brought him down is the sheer bad luck to be saddled with dealing with a once-in-a-century pandemic, and especially because it was due to reveal that though he claims to be a big-brain genius, he's actually a world-class imbecile with limited ability to understand the consequence of his actions. Now here we are in 2021, and Pluto continues to oppose natal Saturn and natal Venus, and therefore continues its devastating work. It is slowly but surely destroying his career and his reputation, everything he has built for years and years. And notice that Venus rules not just his 10th of career, but also the 3rd of his name, which is what he has so effectively monetized for decades, but has now managed to turn into a swear word. Notice also that despite the obvious devastation he is in the midst of, he continues to act like a deranged Mussolini Hitler-style dictator and keeps repeating fascistic lies with which he has brainwashed his many dimwit numbskull followers. Not only is this liable to exact a cost in the criminal realm from ongoing government investigations, but ironically, since he has lived by the sword of suing everything and everyone, now he himself is liable to be sued in civil court for all the lies and defamation. In any case, his continued fascist behavior is his riding the energy of transiting Pluto against perceived enemies. Will it work? No. So, in this way, he's riding Pluto and trying to do his best Kim Jong-un impression, but Pluto is also the forces of government, in particular the secret intelligence agencies, that are now out to get him, as they should be, because he's a danger to them, if you want to be cynical, and he's a danger to the republic they represent, if you want to be a little more noble and idealistic. An even bigger problem is this transit continues solidly through all of next year and isn't really completely finished until 2024, because late in 2023, it makes a station at 28 degrees Capricorn, which is still within range of that Venus. So basically, we are talking about a 6-year period of total devastation. And I should add that transiting through his 6th house opposing 2 planets in the 12th seriously threatens catastrophic health outcomes. Some have said he looks like a heart attack waiting to happen. And this is a little bit eerie because Pluto comes from the first sign, Leo, which is the sign of the heart, and also where his Mars and ascendant are. Now, just because Leo rises doesn't mean you'll have a heart attack. But if you're reckless in your self-management, then it might be what could happen. So he should be careful, but he's never careful, is he? Nope, careful is not in his repertoire.